Right, I want to talk about the busy schedule. You all know it. The number one all-time champion, the unchallenged heavyweight excuse in fitness. I'd love to train more, but I'm just so busy. I hear that consistently. And every time I do, I have to take a moment before I respond because my honest response isn't always the most, let's call it, diplomatic one. Here's the thing. I believe you're busy. I genuinely do. Most people's lives genuinely are full. Work, family, relationships, commuting, cooking, sleeping. It all takes time. And I get it. It all takes energy. Trust me. I'm not going to sit here and tell you, fuck off, you're not busy. I'm also not going to try to compare your life to someone else's because that doesn't matter because it's not your life. But what I want to do in this video is to try my best to get through to you and maybe suggest something that might apply to you or plant a seed that might flourish in the idea that, ooh, if I do this, I might be able to get a little bit of a workout in. Let's do some maths. There are 168 hours in a week. If you work 40 hours, which is a full-time job, and then let's just say, argument's sake, you're sleeping 8 hours a night, which is 56 hours, you have 72 hours left, 72, no matter who you are. Now, yes, some of that goes into commuting, cooking, admin, all the unglamorous bits of life. Let's just say that takes another 20 hours. You're still at 52 hours of unaccounted time. 3 gym sessions of, let's just say, an hour, yeah, will take 3 hours of your week. Now remember, I'm saying maximum, yeah? That's less than 2% of your waking hours. Okay, I can hear it already, I can hear it. But Fee, I work longer than 40 hours. All right, cool, I hear you. Let's add another 20. You're working 60 hours, blood. You're still at 33 hours per week. 3 gym sessions still take under 10% of that. The issue is, and I say this without judgment because it applies to almost everyone, it's not that there isn't time, it's that the gym keeps losing the priority battle. When there's a choice between the gym and something more immediately comfortable or more immediately enjoyable, the gym loses the battle. And I get it, it's understandable, but it's a priority problem. It's not a time problem. Calling it a time problem lets you off the hook in a way that calling it a priority problem doesn't. And that's why most people prefer the first framing of that excuse. Here's what I would suggest you do. Book in your gym sessions like meetings. Put them in your calendar. Tuesday at 6:30, gym. Not I'll try to hit gym this week. Not I'll go if I finish work on time. Tuesday at 6:30, gym. It's in the diary. It has a specific slot and it has to take something significant to move it. It's the same way you wouldn't skip a meeting with your boss because you were a bit tired. So don't skip the session because you're a little bit tired. Also understand, gym sessions do not have to be an hour long. That's a myth that has stopped a lot of people. A well-designed 30 to 40-minute session that includes 4 exercises, high intensity, tight rest periods, and exercises done with intent, that will produce results. I've got clients where they only do 30-minute sessions with me and they're getting tremendous results. Like at the end of that 30 minutes, they're going home and they felt like they've moved the world. You don't need an hour. You need consistency and effort. And both of those things fit into a busy lifestyle if you're actually willing to try. What I also want to gently point out is where the time actually goes. One of the big ones is, how long are you on the phone each day? In the UK, the average is around 4 hours of scrolling, swiping, watching short videos like my shit right now, doing essentially nothing productive. If you put 30 to 45 minutes of that time towards your body 3 times a week, you would have trained more times than most programs actually require. And you would still have 3.5 hours worth of phone time left. Look, I get it. Sometimes you just want to, doom scroll. You just want to unwind. You want to do something just fucking mindless because maybe your entire day is just filled with all of that, having to engage your mind. I'm not asking you to 100% give it up. I'm just asking to look where you invest your time. And when you look at something like that, all of a sudden, training 3 times a week ain't that bad. And the other thing you might find is if you start training properly, right, then that whole doom scrolling and wanting to unwind and all that, well, you get to release a lot of that stress. You get a dopamine hit. There's so many chemical processes that happen after doing a gym session that you're just going to benefit. And then another thing that, again, I want to gently point out is the people who already go to the gym are not people who have all the time in the world. There are people who are parents. They have kids, yeah? They still go to the gym. They have nurses who work for the NHS who go to the gym and they have the worst schedules. They are tired as fuck, yeah? I know because I train some of them. I've trained bus drivers who, they have weird time schedules, but they still come in and do a bit of work. At the end of the day, there are people who go to the gym not because they have an abundance of time, but because they make the time. And, they might even sacrifice time in other things. I remember very clearly someone at the gym saying that they only train in the mornings. And what they do is they wake up early to get to the gym because what they found is in the evenings, someone wants to take your time and your time is precious. And that someone could be your partner, could be your kids if you have kids, could be a friend, but someone wants to take your time in the evening. The reality of someone wanting to take your time in the morning is less likely because you're getting up whilst everyone else is still sleeping. And that really stuck with me. At the time when I heard it, I couldn't relate to it because I was a student. I can train. It's not a problem. As I get into adulthood, I run 3 businesses. I've got responsibilities. I've got people who rely on me. I've got family. Now, even though I'm not a morning person and I absolutely hate it, I'll wake up at, the earliest I used to wake up was 4:30 in the morning so that I can go and train with one of my boys. And I did all of that before I started work. Even before that, when life started getting a bit hectic for me and I started to take on some responsibilities and I had a full-time job, I would wake up at 5 a.m. so that I can get in the gym for 6 a.m. before I started my job at 9 a.m. And by 9 a.m. I would have already trained for 2 hours, right, with weights, and then do 1 hour's cardio. And then I'm in my work. And then that was a manual labor job. And then I would finish, and then instead of going out and chilling out and whatever, I'd go home, eat my dinner, go to bed, so I can get enough sleep so that I can wake up and do the thing again. That was my lifestyle many moons ago. Now it's a bit different, yeah? Sometimes, listen, I have to sacrifice sleep. I have to sacrifice sleep so that I can get what I need done, making content, editing, clients, all that kind of stuff. Then I will wake up early so that I can train before I train my clients. Now, some of you might turn around and be like, yeah, but that's easy for you because you're a PT. But when I was talking about waking up at 5 a.m. so that I could train for 2 hours, get hours cardio, and do my other job, I wasn't actually a PT then. I had a normal bullshit job and I was training clients online. So that whole thing there meant nothing. I wasn't living in the gym. Now, y'all might argue and say you spend most of your time in the gym. It's easy for you. And to a certain extent, it is, because if I have a client cancel, I jump on a treadmill, I get some steps in, yeah? My point is, sometimes you have to sacrifice. And as much as I would love to, just wake up, train my clients, come home, eat and sleep, that's not what my life is. Far from it. Anyway, here's my challenge for the next 2 weeks. Actually track how you spend your time. Not how you think you spend it, how you actually spend it. Most people are gonna be genuinely surprised. Remember, the time is there. It's just a question of what you choose to do with it. Busy is real. I'm not gonna sit here and say there aren't gonna be some people who genuinely have a difficult time getting in the gym. But I've seen people who has the craziest schedules and they still get in the gym once a week. And if that's the best you can do, look, that's the best you can do. Do it. Just because you can't do something perfectly doesn't mean you shouldn't just do what you can. Because doing what you can is better than not doing the bare minimum that you can. Does that make sense? So even though busy can be real, busy is also the most socially acceptable excuse available. And it's worth asking yourself whether you're using it as a genuine reflection of your situation or as a way to avoid discomfort of doing something that is incredibly hard.